there is a network that no one has yet drawn. Two documents released shortly after each other, which at first glance have nothing in common. An interview with a retired archbishop and a paragraph hidden in an encyclical on artificial intelligence. But if you follow the names, the dates, the institutions involved, the network appears, and what you see will take your breath away. Because these are not two stories. They are a single project, executed on two simultaneous fronts: the Church's moral doctrine on one side and the governance of the Church on the other. And by the end of this video, you'll understand that what you're seeing isn't a coincidence. It's a map. Let's get down to business. On May 21st, 2026, Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, former president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, gave an interview to SettimanaNews.it, which was republished by LifeSite News on May 26. Paglia is 81 years old, retired, and in this interview, he says things that no one expected to hear said out loud. Let's understand who Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia is and why his admission matters so much. He was appointed by Francis in 2016 to lead the Pontifical John Paul II Institute. It is the institution founded by Karol Wojtyla to defend the Church's doctrine on marriage, family, and sexual morality. Paglia is the man Francis has chosen to reform that same institution. Not an outside critic, the official guardian of doctrine. And in this interview, Paglia states that Francis felt the need to adapt the doctrine to the new times regarding Humanae Vitae, Paul VI's 1968 encyclical on natural law, human sexuality, and marriage. Francis personally asked him to prepare a text showing the necessary adjustments of that doctrine. Paglia wrote it with a group of theologians on specific topics: sexual morality, irregular marital situations, communion for divorced and remarried people, and Francis read it and appreciated it very much. Let's not move forward without understanding this. The text Paglia wrote addressed specific issues: sexual morality, irregular situations, communion for the divorced and remarried, and, in his words, a rethinking of the concept of nature, underlying natural law. Not a new pastoral emphasis, a rethinking of the very nature of the concept on which the entire Catholic moral theology rests. Humanae Vitae is not just any document. It is the encyclical with which Paul VI, in 1968, resisted the pressures of the academic world and reaffirmed that natural law, inscribed by God in human nature, is immutable. It was the breaking point between the Church and modern culture, and the cornerstone on which John Paul II built his entire theology of the body. That document, Paglia says, was the target. The text is ready. Francis appreciates it, but it isn't published. Paglia doesn't explicitly explain why, but the chronology provides a plausible answer. The years after 2016 saw the Vatican absorbed in Amoris Laetitia, the Synod on the Amazon, and the pressure on fiducia supplicans, and the moral project could wait. Ideas, however, never disappear. They always find another path. And that path is the reform of the Pontifical John Paul II Institute. From 2016 onwards, the Institute changed its composition, its faculty, and its methodology. Professors who defend traditional moral theology, including Father Livio Molina and Father Jose Granados, are removed, and theologians with a radically different approach to natural law are appointed. Paglia admits that the operation was deliberate. It was a matter of rethinking the very concept of nature. What we see is only the surface, because while all this was happening in the corridors of the Pontifical Institute, the same language, the same paradigm shift was emerging elsewhere, in the Synod on Synodality, and then on May 25, 2026, in an encyclical. Not an encyclical on morality, an encyclical on artificial intelligence. On May 25th, Raymond Arroyo and Father Gerald Murray, on the EWTN broadcast, pointed out something that had gone almost unnoticed in the debate over Leo XIV's encyclical Magnifica Humanitas. Paragraph 87. That paragraph explicitly calls for the participation of the baptized in decision-making processes within the Church, not in a document on the Synod, not in a document on ecclesial governance, but in an encyclical on artificial intelligence and social justice. Father Gerald Murray is blunt. This is lay governance in the Church, the new theory that the power to govern comes from the sacrament of baptism, not the sacrament of holy orders. It has no place in a document on social justice and artificial intelligence. It is yet another attempt to convince people that the way the Church has been governed from the beginning, with bishops as shepherds of the flock, is about to be abandoned. This is deplorable. The language of paragraph 87, Murray adds, comes directly from the final document of the Synod on Synodality, approved in October 2025. The same text migrates from one document to another, as if someone were building brick by brick an alternative doctrinal architecture. Paglia works on morality, the Synod works on governance, and the encyclical brings together both. Three different institutions, one project. And it is here that history reveals its true nature. Paglia reformed the John Paul II Institute to change moral theology. The Synod introduced lay governance into the ecclesiastical lexicon. Leo XIV's encyclical inserted that governance into a papal document. 3 steps, 3 different institutions, 1 direction. In the history of the Church, this type of operation has a precise precedent. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, the modernists, condemned by St. Pius VI in the Pascendi Dominici Gregis of 1907, did not attack the faith head-on. They reformed seminaries, changed textbooks, modified vocabulary, until error was everywhere. St. Pius X understood this and responded with a clarity we are still waiting for. The real question, the one no one dares to ask, is, does Leo XIV know what he's signing? Paragraph 87 is in his name. The encyclical bears his authority. If he knows, there's complete continuity with Francis's project. If he doesn't know, if someone inserted that language into a document on artificial intelligence without the Pope understanding its theological implications, then the problem is even more serious. The time has come to answer the question we opened with. What is the connection between an interview with a retired archbishop and a hidden paragraph in an encyclical on artificial intelligence? They are linked by the same theology, the same network of actors, the same objective: to change, piece by piece, document by document, both moral doctrine and the governance of the Church. Tradition does not defend itself. It is defended by people who choose to tell the truth. Paglia spoke with the intention of justifying a project, but instead, he handed the faithful a map that shows the boundary between the Church that Christ founded and the project of those who wish to re-establish its principles. It's up to us to know which side to take. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.